Welcome to Woo New, a show that explores healing and the expansion of our consciousness.
Where we explore all kinds of different energy modalities, therapies, and ideas that bring us closer to our collective liberation.
I'm Ellen, and I'm a journey work guide.
I'm Sam, and I am an integrative energy therapist.
And together, we are the co-creators of We Are All Daughters,
a quantum healing space dedicated to helping us reconnect to ourselves, our bodies, each other, and the universe.
I am still reveling at the timeliness of this conversation, as Sam and I have just sat with Yvonne Chung yesterday to do a partnership human design reading. Yvonne Chung is this brilliant empowerment coach for women of color, children of immigrants, and soul mission leaders. And she is one of the most gifted human design readers we have ever had the honor of meeting and working with. And just to share a little bit before I welcome Yvonne in, Sam and I sat with her yesterday, and she was able to take both of our human design charts and really show us where we are strongest together and how we can best work with one another and understand each other's energetics to, really kind of begin to get very conscious about how we can come together, rework our offerings and just support each other as we're sort of, walking together and healing together and, really expanding and contracting together. And so we're just so grateful to have you here, Yvonne. Thank you so much for being with us and being in this little circle right now and sharing your wisdom and your energy. It's just such a joy to just be here with you.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to be here. And I'm so grateful that just serendipitously the universe has brought us together. We just did a grounding meditation, and at the end of it, I was just feeling so much gratitude for this connection. So it's good to be here.
Me too. My back, like I've noticed now as I'm doing some of these meditations that my back will light up. And when that happens, I don't feel it all the time, but when that happens, I definitely feel it's our ancestors kind of surrounding us. It's very much them, And so I feel like this connection is so meant to be. And there's a reason why we have come into connection with you. And I think knowing that you have been on this journey of even with yourself and your offerings and who you are, how you want to show up in this world, kind of going through this period of like also expanding into this new offering as a fully devoted, empowerment coach and human design reader. I think it'd be really helpful for us to kind of go back to the beginning of when you started feeling called to this work and what it was that you were experiencing that started calling you to essentially like shift your life.
Yeah. It's funny because this work is something that was calling me. And it was almost as if spirit wouldn't let me hide from it. I spent my entire life being the black sheep of my family, knowing that I was just like a little bit different, a little bit odd. Growing up in an Asian immigrant household, I was not ready to follow the conventional path. And that's kind of been my entire life. And so when I went into the workforce, I worked in marketing and went the corporate route. And it was so out of alignment with my whole energetic makeup that I burnt out in 2.5 years. And I quit. And this story has woven itself into my life even before that, like I know since childhood. And I went to college. My mom really wanted me to study accounting, but I studied psychology because I was just fascinated by people. You know, in human design, they say projectors are here to master a system, and I believe that my system is people. And my mom didn't like that I studied psychology. She's like, no, this is for crazy people. Why would you study that? And I was like, so I can understand my freaking crazy family. That's why.
There's always a reason.
And so I studied psychology, and I, finished college very late, by the way, and went the marketing route. And then I burnt out, and I was like, I can't do this. And funny enough, it was my manager in my corporate job who had planted the seed. And I'd never heard of coaching. And she was like, have you ever heard of coaching? I feel like you might be good at this. I feel like you have the personality for it. And I was like, I don't really know what that is, but I'm curious. And she told me about it. I was like, whoa, holy shit, that sounds 100% up my alley. But I was only about a year into my corporate job. And so I kind of just put it to the side and didn't really think about it again. And then after I had quit, I went to travel the world for a little bit over a year. And it was really just like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And it was, well, I know that this is one thing, at least, that I want to do with my life, is to travel and see the world and meet people and understand cultures. I had also studied cultural anthropology. And when I came back, I worked part-time at that corporate job again. They asked me to come back, and I also bartended. And in about a 6-month period from coming back from traveling and just living my life, I had gone to like parties or barbecues or bars and events and shows. And within a 4-month period, I believe, actually, 6 people had asked me if I was a life coach.
Wow.
No way.
That's so crazy.
It was wild. And I didn't know what a life coach was at the time. And this was back in 2018. And by the time the 6th, and it was like the first person would ask me, and then a few weeks would pass, and then the next person at another bar or party or something would ask me. And then the time between each person asking me would get shorter and shorter. And then by the 6th person that asked me, like, are you a life coach, or have you ever considered it? I was like, all right, universe, I will Google what the fuck this is. And so I Googled it, and my mind was blown. I was like, holy crap. It's like this job, this career was like made for me. Like, I feel like I was born to do this work, because I knew after studying psychology that therapy was not the route that I wanted to go. I didn't want to live in that area of helping people unpack traumas and things like that. I take on a lot of emotional energy, and I knew that if I went the therapy route, I would burn out really quickly. And I had no idea this whole other side of psychology, positive psychology. I mean, I knew what positive psychology was, but coaching, helping people maximize their potential and achieve goals and play to their strengths and all of these things, it was a whole new world that opened up to me. And I would, like, literally the next day I signed up for my coaching course, and kind of the rest was history.
Wow.
Yeah. So coaching was definitely something that it was chasing me down.
Wow. Knowing you, I mean, it's like knowing you and the way, I mean, even it's like coming through even now as we're speaking, like there is, and it's very, very present in the human design readings that you do. There is very much this, I don't even know how to say it. It's like motivational, I guess, but it's part of who you are. And I'm just curious, like when you were having these conversations with these like 6 different people who were like, are you a life coach? Was there a certain nature to these conversations that were kind of bringing this up?
Yeah, that's such a great question.
I would say that the common thread there was the ability to hold space. Like to have presence and really hold space and empathy for whatever it is they were moving through. One person was moving through a breakup. Another person was moving through really deep deconditioning work around being raised in an Asian family as an Asian woman with immigrant parents. The other one was this random girl at a bar. I honestly can't even remember the conversation, but she started crying, and I was just like hugging her at this bar while we were both waiting for our beers. And so, it was, if I were to like find that common thread, it was simply being able to like actually listen and hold space for those people to move through and process whatever energies or experiences that were very present for them at that moment in their lives.
Wow. It's so interesting, like even what you were studying in school, because I did something very similar. Well, obviously Ellen and I came from the advertising world as well, but like when I was in school, I minored in psychology and I took
Mm,
cultural anthropology classes because
mm,
I found it so fascinating. But like I always knew I could never be a therapist. I
mhm.
could never, like that was, it felt very limiting almost
Right.
in the way you were able to help people in such like an old school and and it's an incredible like gift for so many, and I don't want to give the impression that I don't think it is, but it just, for me it was like I had to be off the beaten path.
Hmm.
Can you guys
Definitely.
can you guys break that down for me? Because I think there's so much, in a weird way, like crossover between being a therapist and a life coach in
Hmm.
some ways. But I'm so curious, like, what was it that both of you guys felt like therapy is not the way, or it's not the road for me?
Yeah. So the best and most concise way that I could describe the difference is that therapy helps people get from suffering to baseline. Coaching helps people get from baseline to thriving. And
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, in therapy, oftentimes you're looking into the past, digging into traumas and things like that. Whereas coaching is more future focused and goal oriented. And where do we want to go? Whereas therapy is where have we been? Right. And also
Okay.
the thing that can feel really restrictive, and I've heard this from a lot of therapists too, is that there are a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of
Mhm.
regulations you have to, it's the structure is much more rigid.
Mhm.
And you have to kind of play within that structure in order for it to be, in order to fit within the guidelines of therapy. And actually, one of the co founders of the coaching school that I graduated from is also a therapist, and that was one of his big qualms, was like, it felt very restrictive for him in terms of like the way he wanted to run his practice.
Yeah.
Mm,
Mhm.
Yeah, there are so many restrictions, and I think even for me it was like just honoring and acknowledging the fact that what was intriguing for me was learning about how people think and like why they make the decisions that they make and
Mhm.
how they interact with each other and like how they affect one another um, through their decisions and their healing. And I, actually one of the courses I did take was on clinical psychology, and it was very much centered around like, okay, how do you engage with a client when they're in a session with you and you're sitting in the room, and like what kinds of questions do you ask, where do you sit when they sit somewhere, it was very like oh, I just remember
Formulaic.
feeling, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I was like, huh, this is clearly not the part of psychology that like is drawing me in, and I just wanted to like really help people find a better way. It's just so funny actually now that we're talking about it, because we just had our reading yesterday, and like one of the big energies that was coming through, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong because I don't have my notes exactly right in front of me, but um was the energy of like, you know, harnessing lessons, like the fear of the past with
mm-hmm.
like the desire to improve and create
Mhm.
something new, the surrender
Mhm.
energy, and like that
Yeah.
very much was a big part of what was calling me to the areas that I was studying versus
Mm.
like being like, okay, you have to like, then you get your PhD, then you write your thesis, and then you like, study
Right.
one topic, and then it's like you're doing only that till the end of time.
Right.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. Okay. It totally makes a lot of sense. And it's, for me, when I think of the therapists I've worked with, like the traditional therapists, and then you, Yvonne, and the sessions that I've had with you, there's an energetic difference,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's, it's hard to quantify, or it's hard to explain or put into words, but there's very much an energetic difference. And, I think what it is like, when we talk to you, there's something expansive about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's something that feels like uplifting, and you know what? It is potential energy. It's the
Yeah.
energy
Mhm.
of potential. Whereas in
Yes.
a therapist, you feel kind of more like I'm in a little cocoon and I'm going to
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
feel my feelings in here, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like there's a lot of engagement from that direction where it's like leading questions, right? To help people come to their own conclusions
Yes.
about where they are or how they got to where they are, and where they want to go from there. But that almost is like it's like going down more of a rabbit hole and like narrowing in versus like identifying strengths and
Mhm.
opportunities and like energetic potential and like how you can expand from there.
Right. Yeah. And
Mm.
the art of questioning is
Yes.
something that I mean, this is coaching. Like with the coaching industry and how unregulated it is these days, like there are so many people that can identify themselves as a coach. But when we're talking about coaching from coaching psychology, from that perspective, it is at the base, it's the art of questioning. It's
Right.
knowing and holding that client in a position where you believe they have all of the answers within them to guide them to what is correct for them. And your role as the coach is not to tell them or give them the answers, but to ask them the right questions to guide them to their own inner knowing. And this is, to me, this is the core of what coaching truly is really harnessing the power of that individual, from the side. You're not the sage on the
Mm.
stage or the guide on the side, and you are giving them these powerful questions. I know, I remember yesterday when we were in session, you had asked, like, so, you know, if we have like all of these different projects and things that we want to do, like, what do you think is like the best avenue for us to go down? And I was like, I'm going to answer your question with a question. What do you feel is the best avenue for you? Right?
Mm.
Because in coaching, it's really important for us to honor the fact that I am not the expert in your life or your business. You are the expert. And sometimes you just need a little bit of digging or questions, or even just the space, the container, and somebody believing in you to come to those truths for yourself. Right.
Yeah, that was so funny. I was like, oh
Man.
my God, all my conditioning is bubbling up to the surface and it's so obvious. I can see it before I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
You know what you're saying, it like it resonates so deeply. And what it's reminding me of is I had taken this trip last October to Mount Shasta, which I've kind of talked through in a couple of other episodes that we've recorded. But it was with our mutual friend Ruby, and we did a macrodose journey there. And the first night we were there, we took mushrooms together. And one of the key pieces of wisdom that was coming through was just the power in being witnessed, and
Mhm.
the gift of being able to give somebody the ability to witness you as well, you
Right.
know? And I feel like what you're saying with, it's like this gentle guidance. And it's also like what you were saying before about the holding of space and really listening and giving people the opportunity to essentially get there themselves with your gentle guidance, but you are
Mhm.
simply you're actually witnessing them too. And
Right.
in the witnessing, there's, it sounds so simple and it sounds so like, well, you're just there, but it really isn't. It's not just that. There's
Yeah.
something really powerful about witnessing somebody and being witnessed by somebody. It's like you're two, and it's energetic. It's like the two energies
Absolutely.
come together.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
Yes.
magic.
And it's funny because we live in a transactional society where most of our interactions with one another is so transactional. The questions we ask, do you want this? Yes, no. What do you want to
Mm,
eat? This. And
yes.
it's so transactional, and we're swimming in that. And so when people have an interaction that is non-transactional, it may have been years since they've experienced something like that. And the in my experience in coaching, when somebody is actually truly listened to, because we're trained in the art of active listening, where we sit and we listen and we repeat back, we paraphrase, and even that simple act of that person being acknowledged and heard and like shown that they are heard, literally
Mm.
tears. Literally people will just cry because they haven't been actually truly listened to in so long. And so being
Yeah.
able to have that skill of just being able to mirror and hold space and really witness and see somebody, it seems so simple, like you said, but it's so powerful for so many of us because we're just not used to it.
Mm.
In this really hyper productive capitalist system where, you know, we're interacting with each other for singular gain or something like that. It's like to have a space where somebody is simply witnessing you can be so incredibly
Oh
powerful.
my God. I watched this stand-up comedy the other day where the comedian had this whole bit about how when you ask someone how they're doing in
Mm.
a, casual exchange, you should never unload on someone. You should always just say, yes, fine. And I was like, I got like worked up. I was like, this is the problem with everything right now. Nobody listens to each other. Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
like just so heads down. There's no
Right.
connection.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
space that we hold is so tiny. You know,
Yeah.
it's just literally like the little bit of space in front of us, and there's no room for somebody else to step in unless we consciously do it, which is,
Yeah.
I feel like, what you're doing, Yvonne, with this work.
You know what's
Yeah,
so
it's
cool about this? Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say what's so cool about what you do too is that with the human design structure or the charts, it's like you even are able to sort of use this system to highlight areas and strengths that may be purely energetic, but maybe you didn't even have any idea were
Right.
strengths of yours. And so I'm so
Mm-hmm.
fascinated
Mm-hmm.
too how you went from this place of getting your life coaching to also integrating human design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a powerful tool because it's funny when people learn about their human design, it brings to their attention parts of their energetic anatomy, parts of their soul that maybe they weren't consciously aware of. But as soon as they hear it, it's like, oh, wow, that was like hitting on a deep, deep knowing, like something I already deeply knew about myself, but maybe it would not have come to my conscious awareness for maybe a long time, or
Mm-hmm.
it may have taken some other type of event for that to come to my conscious awareness. But to be able to have this map, this almost operating manual, people feel just so incredibly seen.
Mm.
And also kind of like, whoa, how did you know that about me?
Yeah.
The last person I did a podcast recording with, I shared with him parts of his design, and his reaction was like, "Wait, who are you working for? How do you know this much about me?"
I mean, it's so accurate. It's bonkers.
It is
And
bonkers.
and it's
That's
like one
the
of those,
accurate word.
it really is. It's like, oh my God, like I think astrology is complicated. Holy shit. This takes
Yeah.
astrology and each like, so can you break down the different systems that human design as a whole system actually
Yeah.
incorporates?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I like to call human design, like, for when I'm not breaking it down like piece by piece, I just tell people it's like astrology on steroids.
It truly
But
is.
astrology is one of the six languages of human design. So human design synthesizes six different systems of knowledge and self-understanding: the Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, astrology, modern astronomy, and quantum mechanics. And it takes these six different languages and synthesizes it into one cohesive system for self exploration and self understanding. And it's so incredibly complex and so potent. And it just feels so quantum, I guess is the
Mm-hmm.
best way
Mhm.
I could explain it. Um, yeah, it definitely, when I go down the rabbit holes of digging into someone's chart and getting to know them simultaneously, it definitely feels like a psychedelic experience. Yeah, like tapping into, or almost get peeling the veil back and having almost this clairvoyant sight into the energetic anatomy of this human being in this
Yeah.
human incarnation, right?
Yeah. It's wild. And like, okay, so I have this human design app on my phone. And so like, I was familiar with like the very basic things,
Mhm.
like my type and strategy,
Right.
which maybe we should explain that for everyone who maybe isn't familiar with human design before we keep going.
Yeah. So your strategy and your authority and your type, we call these the human design big three, right? Type, strategy, authority. Your type is like, projector, manifestor, manifesting generator. This is going to tell you the nature of your energy, the best uses of your energy. It's kind of like the vehicle you're driving. It's going to tell you about the energetic mechanics of your aura and how your energy moves through the world and interacts with other people and other opportunities and things like that. Your strategy is tied to your type, and that is going to basically tell you how to bring aligned opportunities and bring aligned decisions to you. This is also kind of like your GPS. I also like to say that your strategy is your way of protecting your energy. It's how to know when to engage and when to not engage your energy into a particular direction. Your authority is going to get a little bit more specific than just your type, right? This is your intuitive, built in decision making tool, and it's going to help you tune into decision making that is beyond conditioning, underneath the conditioning, and help you learn how to empower yourself to make self-honoring decisions. And so if you can understand your type, your strategy, and authority, all the other nuances and your larger purpose and your life path and all of these other things will unfold as a natural result. The type and strategy and authority are, I like to call these the more mechanical aspects of your human design that are very kind of practical, and you can just use them, right? Whereas everything else, like the things that we dove into, I think of that as more of the like feminine aspects of it, the more purpose, spirit, and how we play into the collective type of areas of human design.
It's so like it's so powerful. It really is so powerful. I'm curious. Okay, so you had mentioned this term positive psychology before,
Mhm.
and I'm curious what that is, because I don't think I've actually heard that term until you used it.
Yeah.
But
So funny. I studied that too.
did
Yeah.
you?
That's so crazy how aligned we are on that.
I love that. And like, what I guess what came first, your desire to coach or your interest in human design? I'm just so curious, like how this all like beautifully
Came
came
together.
together. Yeah.
So definitely my desire to coach came first. I studied psychology in college and learned about positive psychology when I was in college, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, because it wasn't something that really gained popularity until like the 1980s. And this was where regular psychology was looking at deficiencies and disorders and all of these things, and positive psychology kind of flipped the script and looked at, well, how do we maximize potential? How do we understand people's strengths? How do we understand how to make people thrive? How do we understand what it takes for people to really harness their maximum potential and really just make the best of life? This was a study of happiness. This was the study of productivity. This is the study of, instead of living in the dark, murky abyss of, shadows and shadow work, it was looking forward and looking at, okay, now that we've looked at the darkness and the shadows and healing and all of these things, how can we like start to use this understanding of the human psyche to harness potential, to move forward and really expand into the fullness of our beings and the fullness of our capacity for satisfaction and fulfillment? And when I learned this, I was just like, it gave me a new spark and a new fire for understanding human beings. And so definitely my love for positive psychology, because actually the coaching school that I went to was focused on positive psychology and coaching psychology. And that was the reason why I had picked it. because it really played really well with my education and my excitement for understanding the human mind and what motivates people,
Yeah.
what pushes people to be better, what pushes people to what ingredients do we need to feel happy and to thrive. And that really just fascinated me because for so long psychology was this dreary kind of like
Mm-hmm.
depressing thing, and then this whole new area of psychology just started really taking off. A lot of like TED Talks have to do with positive psychology, how can we harness our
Yeah.
potential? And I
And
was
I
just,
even feel like a lot
yeah,
of like what Brene Brown does like came out of
yes,
positive psychology.
Gotcha.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That makes
Flow
sense.
state came out of
Yeah.
positive psychology.
Oh, okay.
Under operational psychology, like psychology in the workplace, is
Yeah.
rooted in
Hmm.
positive psychology as well. And so it fascinated me. And so I went down that path. And um, actually, now that I think about the timeline, interesting. Because actually, I found, or human design found me right before I started coaching. But human design was one of those things where I used it first for myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just mind blown by how much I learned about myself. And then when I came back from traveling, is when I discovered, really is when people started asking me if I was a coach. I never thought that I was going to use human design in my work, but it just happened really organically.
Wow. Did you just meet a reader or like did you just kind of stumble across it?
So I was volunteering at a plant medicine center. It was an Aya center in Peru. And one of the volunteers came home one night super excited, and he had like this stack of papers, and like he had drawn out blank human design charts very crudely and like photocopied a bunch of them and ran into the dining room with like pens and markers and color pencils, and was just like literally like busted through the door and was just like, you guys, have you heard about human design? And all of us were
Whoa.
sitting at the table like, no, but you seem really excited. What is it? And he shared it with us, and we just like had all of our papers out on the table, and we were filling out our charts and coloring them in. And then he like sent me a book via email. It was Karen Curry's book on human design, and I stayed up all night and read that book from cover to cover. And I like took all
Wow.
these notes, and my mind was just expanding at an accelerated rate. And then I looked at my partner's chart, and I was just like, holy fucking shit.
Wow.
And from that point on, I just started kind of using the tools in my own life and witnessing the ways in which it was helping me to relax into my own natural way of being instead of forcing myself to try to be or to try to fit into a box that I felt like I was supposed to be in. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and to allow myself to really just relax into my natural way of being, and to like give myself permission to just be who I am. Like, no, I'm not designed to work a 40-hour work week. And the relief that washed over me when I learned that projectors are really designed to work 4 or 5 hours a day, I was like, no wonder I did not fit in energetically in the corporate grind. And it was just this coming home to myself. And then when I came back from traveling, as a projector, was allowing myself to wait for invitations, because I was using human design but still working on the deconditioning, so I wasn't using it all the time. And I was like trying to force my path to like create these art and music events, that because I like really wanted to open my own music venue one day. And just like I was facing a lot of resistance because I was initiating a lot of things and burning out and trying to do all the doing, which I'm not designed to do. And when I dipped back into my human design and remembered, like, oh right, I shouldn't be forcing things. I need to be waiting to see where I'm recognized, so that I can flow with the natural current of my river and flow to those areas and to those people and to those projects where my skills and gifts are recognized. When I started doing that, that's when all of the doorways and the opportunities and pathways for my purpose started unfolding before me. When people kept asking me, "Are you a life coach? Have you thought about life coaching?" By the sixth time, it was like, "Oh, right, duh, these are invitations. And I need to answer the call." And this is where people are recognizing and valuing and calling me forward for my gifts as a projector, because projectors have a hard time seeing themselves. And it was like, oh, and as I started to answer those invitations, is when my purpose started to unfold. And I really believe that as you are learning about your human design, when you start to use your strategy and authority, it aligns you with the fractal line of your purpose, and it gives you more opportunities to intersect with the fractal lines of that purpose, with the different opportunities and experiences and people and relationships that will further align you on that path.
Yeah, that's
Oh my God.
so powerful.
It
I
is.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Sam. I'll reflect after you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was actually going to jump into like asking about all the different types. So for anyone who's not familiar with it, so you can go.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to say this one thing that was like coming into my head as you were talking. And this is, again, what I find so beautiful about human design. Like, what was coming into my head was just our school system and like
Yes.
our education system. And it was almost like I was being brought back to like elementary school and junior high, and like all these ways in which we're supposed to be like learning by this very structured and
Mhm.
strict kind of, that really only serves one type of person, you know?
Yes.
And then those of us who like, like basically were perceived as fuck ups,
Mhm.
like did not fit into that system. And so that creates this whole new dynamic that like, I suck, I suck, I suck, and
Yeah.
I can't fit into the system. And like, oh God, everything that you're just sharing about like your projector nature and realizing that you're only supposed to work 4 or 5 hours a day, and how counter that is to this crazy oppressive patriarchal kind of like, and suppressive system that we're in. And you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I feel it so much in my body that like something like human design, this beautiful system, is really an invitation for all of us to recognize our individuality and our uniqueness, and to celebrate that, and to not feel like we have to fucking, like fit in a box or into like
Yeah.
this
Yes.
little conforming, way of being.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
like
We
fired up, but
It's so true.
for good reason.
I was even thinking about that energy that came up in our reading yesterday, the energy of rhythm, and how
Mhm.
like looking at our charts separately, like Ellen's pattern is, or Ellen's energetic makeup is fixed patterns, and mine is extremes. And so it's like
Mhm.
even understanding like, okay, there's one day that I'm going to be super active, and then another day like I'm going to not do anything, or and that is
Right.
constantly swinging back and forth. And that like you feel the best, Elle, when you're in a solid rhythm, and you're like in the flow all day
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
and it's like just even acknowledging and honoring that in each other as a partnership, but in ourselves within this conditioning of like, because for me, I was like, there would be days where I was like, I'm crushed for 3 days straight, but I
Mhm.
like don't have any choice. I
Totally.
have to push through it and burn the candle at both
Mm.
ends.
Right.
And then what
Right.
happens? Burnout, adrenal
Yeah.
fatigue, the systems shut down.
Yeah.
And, this, oh, I get so fired up too, Ellen, because homogenization is
Yes.
the
Ugh.
death of source energy. And
Yeah.
Creativity.
yes, and, human design is called the science of differentiation. That's what it is coined as,
Oh,
because
wow.
what it does, like, it gives us this blueprint, this like on paper thing that shows us the truth of we are all here to be so different. We're here to be differentiated expressions of source. And that is okay. That is beyond okay. That is the way that it should be. And so,
Mm.
this system came into this world as a reminder to us all that, like, okay, this homogenization is not good for us. It's not highlighting people, it's not allowing the creative source energy to be expressed in its best and most useful and most profound and transformative ways. And so this science of differentiation, like we we need to understand that differentiation is a part of this human experience, and it needs to
Mm,
be honored. Because not like, I was just having a conversation yesterday with a friend about the school system too, about how like
mm,
we are not all designed to learn from reading books and taking notes. And like
yeah.
some people learn physically, some people learn visually, some people learn from hearing, a lot of people learn by doing. But the school system is designed for one type of
One type.
learner, and then
Right.
people leave the school system feeling like complete and total utter failures, and then
Yeah.
that
Not to
dampens the
mention, they're like,
spirit.
what am I going to do with my life? Like, you know?
Exactly. And imagine if at 4 years old, when kids just live their design. We just become
Mm,
conditioned into adulthood to live out of our design. And imagine if we could just give everybody permission to learn and do as they are designed and what feels good to them. Like how many beautiful, unique, powerful expressions of source there would be, and like what type of fucking utopia would exist on this planet if we could do that for our
Yes.
seriously.
kids. Yeah.
Seriously. Like this shit needs to be taught in schools. Like,
I
oh
know.
my God. I like wish to, I like want to, I don't know, like give, give every single parent almost like a chart of their child to like help them
Yeah.
understand like this is what you're working with, and it's beautiful, you know. And
Mhm.
everything you're saying also, it brings me back to the mushrooms and plant medicine, which, you know, obviously is so near and dear to Sam and I's heart, being stewards of the mushrooms. And I find myself constantly telling each of our clients, you know, don't think that they're going to work with you in the same way that they worked with your friend or everybody
Mhm.
else, or, you know, all the
Yes.
shit that you're reading in all of these editorial stories. And, you know, like this
Right.
whole movement of decriminalization and all the science, like the double blind test and all these things are trying to essentially like validate this medicine, you know,
Mhm.
in our like, you know, obsessive scientific kind of way. And I'm just like, you know, they show up the way they show up with you because
Right.
of
Yeah.
who you are.
They
And it's
bring
going to
Right.
what
be
you need.
different. Yeah, you know, it's not going to be this like, oh, I'm just going to instantly feel better and I'm going to
Right.
suddenly, you know, like whatever, like my life is solved or
All
whatever,
my
you know, you
shadows have
think.
been healed.
Yeah, you know, it's like, oh my God, it's that nothing in this world is like that. And yet we
Right.
have this expectation that it should work that way because of,
Homogeny, homogeny,
yeah,
homogeny.
Yep.
And it makes this world so mundane, and it makes it so dull and black and white, and sterile. And like, this is not the way. Like, you look at nature, nature's not sterile. You look at a tree, and
right.
the tree next to it does not look the same. And this medicine is so potent and powerful in that way. But if we're putting it through this lens that is just sterilizing it, then people are not going to get the most from that experience. And there's it's a blessing and a curse for it to hit the mainstream and become more popular, and more
Hmm.
people are using it. But like, there needs to be more of a dialogue around not homogenizing that experience, because it makes it less potent for people as they move into that experience for themselves. And this is why I feel it's so important, for one, these dialogues to happen, but two, for people to be very mindful of the facilitators that they are choosing to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
it all goes back to also this idea of space holding, this idea
Mm-hmm.
of giving people each other space to have their experience, their unique experience, and to witness, you
Right.
know, and
Yes.
not have
Celebrate.
to, yeah, like pigeonhole or push you through a particular, like, you know, like I have like all these metaphors going through my head at one time, and it doesn't make any sense anymore, the way they're trying to come out. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I think going back to what you were saying even earlier about space holding and that being almost like the most important thing as a life coach, because we truly all have the answers within us. We just need to
Yes,
get out of our own way and allow those answers to kind of come through.
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's so like, again, the other thing that I just love about it too is that it makes it very clear where your conditioning is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Totally.
In ways that you may not have even understood at all. Because it's like, oh, I just feel guilty about this all the time. I feel shame for this all the time. I try not to talk about this or whatever it is, or I just like push through it. And it's like, we need more room for celebrating each other's unique gifts.
Yes.
And this like gives you permission to do that, and then in a way where it's like you also can like shine your brightest light.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes.
can stand in your
Yes.
authenticity even if you didn't know what your authenticity was before you had your human design read.
Right.
100%.
I like to describe it as the permission slip you've always wanted, but never needed in the first place to be exactly who you are.
Yes.
God, that's so perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, just to jump back really quick for any of our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with human design, could we maybe go through the 5 different types and just
Yeah.
like help people get a sense of like what actually a human design reading includes?
Yeah. So there are manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. And so each of these different types, when you zoom out and you look at it from the bigger picture, like every single person here has a beautiful role to play. We are all a part of the evolutionary puzzle, right? And so manifestors here are like the fire starters. They are here to initiate. They are here to get us all as individuals or as a collective started on new paths. Their auras really are designed to push other auras out of the way so they can be that trailblazer, that fire starter, right? And then we have generators, and these are the slow and steady, masterful builders. These are the people that are responding to their world, the things that come into their field, and seeing what lights them up so that they can carry that energy through and make those visions a reality. They are the people who can sustain activity over time. And as long as their like gut is lit up by it, they are the ones who are like, show me what this vision is, and if it lights me up, let me help you build that shit out in the world, right? As long as generators are lit up, it lifts everybody up around them. They're so magnetic and so warm and enveloping in the aura that they have. Manifesting generators are generator types with manifestor qualities. And so if the generator is like the marathon runner with that slow and steady drumbeat of sustained activity, manifesting generators are like the sprinters. They are the quantum leapers. They are what I call the passionate multi hyphenates of this world. They have like 12 different hobbies going at one time, and they're good at fucking all of them. They master things really, really quickly, where because they're able to kind of find these shortcuts that other people don't really see. And so people look at manifesting generators and they're just like, how did you master that so quickly? And how are you so good at so many things? Right. It's because you guys are designed to find shortcuts and have all of these like different passions and curiosities. And manifesting generators are also like masters at pivoting because you're so good at so many things and so adept at so many things with so many skills. You're able to really pivot when you feel like, say, your energy is not in this one hobby anymore, but you're feeling called to maybe like play some music. Pivot. Allow yourself to be guided by your excitement, because as you do that, this beautiful constellation of your purpose starts to appear. The dots connect later, right? And then we have projectors, and projectors are like the seers, the guides, the quiet leaders almost. And they are the people who are here to sense and guide the energy of others. And they have this ability to really, their aura is literally designed to pierce into the aura of another person and feel their energy and feel what they're feeling so that they are able to most effectively guide with that ability and with that sight. And so projectors are really here to sense and guide energy to their best and most efficient uses. Projectors are not designed to do all the doing. You know, I always refer to myself as a sleepy projector. I kind of just like to mosey around and like, you know, take my time with stuff. And I've really, for most of my life, I was conditioned to believe that I was lazy. And this is a big deconditioning point for projectors, is that it's either we were conditioned to believe we were lazy, or we're conditioned to deeply fear being seen as lazy. And so we grind and we push and then we burn the fuck out. But we're not designed to really do all that doing. And so we're actually designed to come into this world to show people a new way for success. We don't have to hustle. We don't have to grind. And projectors are the newest type. We only came onto the scene in 1781 in order to help usher humanity into a new way of growing and being that isn't just based on building anymore. And then we have reflectors, and reflectors are here as like the barometers of health for the community. These are people who are taking in and sampling their environment and the people that they're with. And so if the environment is not healthy and the community is not healthy, they will reflect that back out. If the community is healthy and thriving and doing really well, the reflector will be able to reflect that back out. And so reflectors are really meant to be at the heart of the community, to be able to tell the people like, hey, things are going really well here, or things are not. And reflectors are here to move through this journey of deep conditioning and deep deconditioning, so that they are able to like gain all of this wisdom from that process and then share that with the community and with the world. And so if you look at it in this whole kind of picture, we have the manifestors charting the path, opening the doorways and paving these new pathways. And then the generators and manifesting generators come in and they're like, what do we want to dedicate our sacral energy to building out in this world? And the projectors come in and they're like, hey, you seem to be really good at this and really lit up by this. You should go do that. And oh, you seem to like not be really happy doing this. So maybe step away from this and try going in this direction. We're here to guide the energy. And then the reflectors are here to say, hey, things are going really well. Keep it up. Or hey, things are not going really well. And this is what I see. And this is why. And that's kind of how we all fit into the larger picture of like civilization, right?
That's very, very cool. It's like
Yeah,
such a perfect, beautiful summary.
I know. I've never really heard it that way too, but it just, I think there is this, I don't know, again, this is the illusion, right? There's this like belief in like equity and, the whole bullshit, like pull yourself up from the bootstraps and make it, the American dream and all that kind of crap, that just so is counter to just this beautiful system that you just laid out, where we have all these different roles and we have all these different strengths. And I remember even, I think there's a woman, Sam was the one who brought her to my awareness, but I can't remember her name anymore, but I think she's a guru that actually travels the world, and she's like known as like the hugging guru.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think she's a reflector, I believe,
Yes.
if I'm
Oh,
not mistaken.
really?
Yeah, it was just really interesting because that was
Wow.
the first one and only reflector I've ever known of,
Wow.
but it's such an interesting, and I know that they're like the smallest percentage,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
1% of the population.
Oh, it's so fascinating to me. And like the projectors being almost kind of like the traffic lights or the signs, like the
Mm-hmm.
directional kind of like, kind of moving traffic back and forth. It's just so interesting. And it just makes so much sense that we each have these like beautiful gifts to step into.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are
And
like thousands of combinations too, right? So, like, even if you have, for example, like you joke about being a sleepy projector, but like sometimes I feel sleepy because I just like can't get my shit together for days, you
and
know?
you have the gate of extremes as
Yes.
well. There's so many nuances. Like your type just barely scratches the surface, and it's going to tell you your type is really just going to tell you the mechanics of your aura and like the potentially the best uses of your energy. But then you scratch beneath the surface, like with you, Sam, and you see like, yes, you're a generator, but like I look at your chart and you only have two centers defined, which means that you are a generator. Yes, you have this sacral energy, but you're also like really sensitive and taking in energy from from seven other centers. And so when I look at this chart at first, like if I didn't know you, I would look at this chart and say, if I met this person, their presence will probably be quite soft and quite open and not as like intense, right? But then I meet people and like I've gotten pretty good at like when I meet people in person, being able to guess their type and their profile with like an 80% kind of accuracy. And when I meet somebody and I'm like, whoa, their energy is really big and like it's really taking up space and there's like this bigness to their energy. I look at their chart and they have like 7 centers defined. And that's like our defined centers is like, this is where we are emitting energy and bringing energy out into the world and impacting and conditioning other people. Whereas our centers that are undefined is where we are taking in and being conditioned and amplifying the energy of the people around us. And so even though you're a generator, you still have 7 centers open, which makes so much sense with like the way that I feel your presence, right? And so there are all of these incredibly nuanced aspects of a person's chart. Another example I'll use is like you have an undefined heart center, which even though you have your sacral center defined, which means you have life force, the nuance here is as a generator, that sacral is going to turn on only for those things that feel good to you, right?
Yeah, I feel that in a big way.
Yeah. And the undefined heart center, this is our center of willpower and motivation. When that center is undefined, that means you're not always going to feel motivated with willpower to like keep going and push through. That motivation is going to come in waves. It's going to come where like maybe you'll have this spike of motivation for like a week or two, and then that's going to wane a little bit. And like when we understand that about ourselves, like Ellen and I also have undefined heart centers, it really is such a relief to know that like, oh, I'm like energetically not designed to just fucking be motivated all the time. And it's like, oh, thank God, because I thought something was wrong with me, you know, and it's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just honoring that and knowing that like for me, my motivation, I've started to track it. It comes in like 2 to 3 week waves where like I'll have 2 to 3 weeks where I'm like, yeah, because I fucking love my job. I love what I do. But then I'll have like 1 week where I'm just like, nope.
So tired.
Nope. I'm just gonna smoke weed and watch Netflix and eat cookies and just chill. And I used to think like when I got those dips, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Do I not love my job? Am I not meant to do this? And I was just like, no, I just need to rest and give myself that time to recharge, just like the phases of the moon. We wax and we wane, and to honor that, not try to push against your natural current, to really hold that space for you to move through your cycles, because we're such dynamic beings, you know?
Yeah, the nuances are what I find like the most interesting, I think,
because it's the juicy stuff.
Yeah, because like you hear you're a generator and I'm like, okay, so I'm just like, you know, a powerhouse like engine cog in the wheel, you know? But that's like so not how my chart is. And I mean, even Ellen being a manifesting generator, Elle, you only have 2 defined centers also, right?
Yeah. And what you just said also about like having the heart being undefined. If I'm not feeling something, you cannot get me to do it.
Hard.
It's
so hard.
There's no fucking way.
You guys should have seen my face I was doing my taxes the other day and my brother-in-law walked in and he was like, is that going to be your face all day? And I was like, probably.
Oh my God.
And you know, there might be somebody out there that's like, I fucking love doing taxes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me hire you to do my like we're not all meant to do it all, you know, like
totally.
Yeah. And it's like let us really honor the fact that some people are just like so meant to do things that like maybe we're just not meant to do, and that's beautiful. Like it's so beautiful to be able to live in a world where we all bring so many different skills to the table. And Matt, how amazing would it be if we could live in a society that created space for that, for it to be so okay for you to be like, I fucking hate numbers and doing taxes. And people are like, that's okay. You're really good with people. And that's where you should put your energy. You know, I think back to high school. My mom wanted me to be good at math so bad. And in standardized testing, I was so good at grammar and spelling and reading comprehension. I love writing. But she put all of her resources towards trying to make me good at math. And I just think about how, like, what would be different in terms, I mean, I love where I am right now, like everything happens for a reason, super grateful, but I think about what if she put that energy and those resources into really harnessing my strengths in writing and speaking and all of these things, right? And
Totally.
it's just, you know, like and this is where the positive psychology comes in. It's like, why not help harness each other's strengths instead of focusing on each other's deficiencies, right?
Yeah. Like I love something that you said yesterday too. And it was like, when Ellen gets really excited about all these things and she comes to you and says, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z now. I like listen to my sacral and I'm going to move on it. And you were like, so you can either get out of the way or be like, okay, I'll contribute to this one piece that's lighting my
Uh-huh.
sacral up. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Totally.
okay, I love that because we both then just get to like celebrate and like honor who we are energetically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think,
And I love that.
this is something that I feel like we've been talking about for a little while now, this idea of these new paradigms being created in our world where it's so much more about collaboration over competition,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
like coming together versus
Yes.
separating and every man for himself trying to like, carve out a destiny or a future or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This collaboration and playing to each other's strengths, it's just like I find it so beautiful now because I feel like before in the agency world I was struggling with that, even with my team, even being sort of the ECD and like at the helm and kind of like leading this group of creatives. I always felt like I had to do everything myself,
Mm-hmm.
And I think coming into partnership with Sam and learning now also, like, it's just so beautiful that this is coming to us, this like consciousness right now, because as we're like going forward and kind of continuing to build out our business and just our partnership and what that looks like and everything, there is this beautiful invitation that I now feel where I'm like, I don't have to fucking do everything myself, like
Yeah.
Yes.
it's so incredible to not feel that,
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah,
And it's a
it's a game
shift
changer.
in mindset and consciousness to look at that statement, I don't have to do it all myself, and feel empowered by that versus disempowered by that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Like in the corporate capitalist world, you as you mentioned, you were leading this team and feeling like you had to do it all yourself. And it's because of the what's the word I'm looking for? The like the dialogue around all of this, the rhetoric around all of it is,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't do it all yourself, then
Hmm.
you're failing. If you
Right.
can't do it all yourself, then there's somebody else out there that will,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
but we're not meant to do it all ourselves. And it's like this shift in consciousness, this shift in mindset to say, like when we all try to do it all ourselves, that's a fucking waste of potential. That's a fucking
Yes.
Yeah.
waste, because then that means you're giving less to those things that you are actually meant to do. Right. And
Yeah.
I just love this system so much. And I love this new paradigm that is like descending through the grid onto this planet of like, no, we don't have to. We have community, we have people, we have all this plethora of strengths to tap into, this pool of talent and creation. And now that we are like really exercising and allowing that type of consciousness to work through us, we are able to highlight each other, lift each other up, synergize. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
fucking future, is synergy, which is such a huge
Hmm.
part, Sam, of your chart. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool too, I think. Like just even having this reading yesterday, I've been thinking about it since then and it's like the true potential to create new systems right now in this time
Mhm.
where we're talking about like old systems crumbling, the
Yeah.
patriarchy, like decolonization, like all of these things, these systems
Mm-hmm.
falling that no longer serve us. And then like actually seeing in our charts that it's like, it is our destiny
Yes.
to like follow this energy of surrender and to like create actual new systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
I
I want to
know.
share with the audience listening. the gate that's in your conscious sun and how beautiful it is. It's gate 45, and it's the gate of synergy. And this has everything to do with moving away from hierarchical systems of like, stepping on the person below you to get higher, and like the vertical development of society around, like, there's this person above that person above that person, and they report to that person, da 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 da. And we're shifting from that type of consciousness to what we call a heterarchy, where it's horizontal, and we are all like cross-pollinating with one another and leveraging each other's strengths or businesses or whatever to supplement each other. And so what this looks like, and we're seeing it literally happen before our eyes, which is incredible because of the internet, and because, COVID happened, and the great resignation, and like
Yes.
all of these people that started these like side hustles and businesses and things on the side, and we're realizing like, whoa, we don't have to buy from corporations as much as we used to. We can buy from each other. And then this, as Ellen, you said, it's like moving from that place of competitiveness to cooperation, where it's like, let's share our audiences, let's cross pollinate, there is no losing when we're collaborating. It's literally a win-win situation, a win for you, a win for me, a win for all of the people that we are here to serve. And it's like, in the new paradigm, there isn't going to be room for competition in that way, because the new grid descending onto this earth is about Aquarian energy, Aquarian as fuck energy,
Yes.
And it's just so beautiful. And I love that, like, you guys are both feeling so called to, create a huge community of people, and to create this platform where your audience can come and dip into all of these different beautiful modalities of healing and learning. And it's going to be almost like this beautiful quilt that you guys are putting together with that energy. And it's so beautiful. And I'm so excited to witness you guys build this incredible mind baby, spirit baby.
Mind baby.
I love it. Well, I also want to kind of talk a little bit about what you're bringing also to the world through this coaching program that I'm just so honored to, absolutely, to like know you and be a part of it as well. And tell us all the things that you're planning for your as your offerings for this year.
Yeah, so human design offerings, human design readings are probably always going to be on the table. I just love doing them. I offer foundational readings for people who are just starting their human design journey. And then I offer deep dive readings, which scratch beneath the surface and get kind of into that really juicy stuff. I also offer one-on-one coaching, but what we're working on right now, which I'm really excited about because it kind of emerged organically. And this is a group coaching program that I am putting together in collaboration with Ellen, and it's called Unlocked. And it's going to be a 12-week group coaching / healing container, a hybrid container. And this was really created for the heart-led, impact-driven leaders that know their souls are on a mission in this life. Those people that they feel that their soul was here to do something bigger than what they're doing. And maybe they're just a little bit scared to take the leap, right? And this is for those people that are the helpers of the world, that feel that they are really, truly dedicated to elevating our collective consciousness beyond fear and into love. And they really want to approach their soul's work from a place of integrity, self-trust, and energetic alignment. And this program was designed to really help you gain deeper trust and awareness of what that work is and how you can best be a vessel for it in this life. And so in this container, we're going to be doing a lot of exploration around positive psychology, understanding your strengths and your values, clarifying your vision. And we're going to take a deep dive into human design and energetic alignment. And we're also going to master your mindset and use these tools from positive psychology and human design to understand and master your fears, rewrite your inherited stories that maybe keeping you playing small and understanding what your keys to success are, and really giving you all the tools you need to like coach yourself and to understand what it takes to live in integrity and energetic alignment. And throughout this process, you'll be receiving coaching as well as healing. So coaching from me and healing from Ellen. And that's going to bring in a lot of like inner child work and things like that. And the reason why this came to me was I was developing this group coaching program, and I've been coaching people now for 2 years, and I recognized a gap. And that gap was the healing work. I am an excellent coach. I can coach you through a lot of stuff and coach you to your goals and everything. But that area that I was missing, the missing puzzle piece, was this deep feminine energy of healing work and inner child work. And it's something that would come up all the time with my clients. And so for the last bundle of clients that I had, I gifted them a healing session from Ellen, and they all came back to me like, holy shit, Yvonne, this was the missing piece to the puzzle.
I
They
love
were
that so much.
blown away. And I knew it because I did Ellen's microdose container, and I was like, holy wow, this is powerful medicine. And like that intuition came in and was like, Yvonne, this is what your clients need. And so in gifting them that healing session from you, Ellen, the response was incredible. They were just like, Yvonne, this is such an incredible compliment to the work that you do. And I was like, okay, I feel a collaboration here coming on, and invited Ellen. And I'm so glad that you were stoked on it, because I think this is going to be really, really powerful to help people really unlock their potential and unlock the medicine they're here to share. Like I really believe that the world needs more people to say yes to themselves, to say yes to that mission that they feel in their soul. And this container is designed to help people overcome their self-doubt, master their mindset, master their energy, and unlock the unique medicine that they're here to serve.
Yeah, it was absolute. As soon as Yvonne came to me with this, and we had been talking, and I'd been working with some of her clients, like it was just so, I mean, it really was magic. I just felt like, oh my God, this is really, when you talk about this balance between the yin and the yang, the balance between the masculine and the feminine, intellect and thought and rationality, and this, right. It's all of that mixed with the emotional, and it really it's like the physical body and the emotional body, like
right.
it, or energetic body, I should say. It was like such a beautiful, like almost like I didn't even have to think about it. It was very much like of course, And I think, for me, I've been in different containers where, most of the things I've been stepping into has been very much in service of bringing in the yin, bringing in the divine feminine, stepping into that, because I was so leaning into my yang, into that intellect and that rational. So I needed individually to balance out within, but so many of these containers are just one or the other. And so I think that's why the power in this particular offering is the merging of both sides and really coming into balance, which I just keep on getting that in a lot of the readings I've been doing. Like, it is about this rebalancing.
Yes.
It has to be both. It can't just be about the divine feminine. And I know so much emphasis in healing has been placed on the divine feminine, but it's because we are in this like completely toxic and unhealthy, overbalanced masculine side, so suddenly it's like, all right, everybody to the opposite side of the ship, like let's
that
all
big
balance it out.
Pendulum swing.
But really it needs to come back into this beautiful state of like equilibrium. So I'm just so honored.
And equilibrium too, when I think about that, it's like, and this has been, you had asked at the beginning before we started recording about like common themes that I've been seeing coming up. And that's a huge one, the masculine and feminine. That's also, this is the time of the prophecy of eagle and condor and things like that. And it's like, witnessing this pendulum swing, and something that came through really loudly for me over this past week was like, or last 2 weeks, is that, I think it's really important for us to recognize that this masculine and feminine, it's not going to be a balance. It is a dance. And that goes back to the equilibrium. That goes back to, what is that? It starts with an H. brain fart. Anyway, it's like you're not going to always be fucking 50-50 balanced masculine and feminine.
Yes,
It's going to
exactly.
be a dance. It's like knowing when is the time to embody the masculine energy and when is the time to dip into the feminine energy, and allowing this almost like a thermostat of homeostasis to like to create this beautiful dance between the two energies, and becoming very self-aware of what both of those feel like in you and when it feels right to embody one versus the other. And I think this is big medicine that we are all collectively moving through right now. A lot of people are going through the pendulum swing
Yeah.
big time. And I think that as time moves forward, we are going to start to understand that it's not about a perfect balance 50-50. It's about
Yeah.
the dance.
It's the expansion and the contraction.
The breath,
Really.
exactly.
Yeah. I love that so much. And it very much is. It's like honoring both in you. You don't have to hustle all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You need that time to be still and to
Mm-hmm.
sit in your creativity and be in that potential, you know, and yeah, and incubate. Like I think the
Yes.
dark liminal spaces is something that we're all learning how to be more comfortable with in the feminine. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a push and pull, a dance. I love that so much.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm like trying to be mindful of time because I know Sam has to go get her
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh,
nephew.
sorry. I was like, we could talk about this forever, literally.
Seriously.
Could literally talk for hours.
I know. I know this is going to be the first of many, many conversations that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, conversations with you specifically, Yvonne. So just so honored, so grateful to be walking with you. I can't stress that enough. It's a beautiful unfolding that I think all of us are witnessing. And I feel right now, it's like my tummy is buzzing, but it's the potential. It really is the potential of all that can come forth through these beautiful collaborations that are so divine, you know? So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, this was so amazing. I can't wait to share it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for the invitation. You know, as I said yesterday, the projector in me is just beaming and shining from the invitation and the recognition, and just so honored to be able to share these gifts and share this system, and to be in collaboration and walking this path with you. Like, Ellen, I love that you said it's like this potential energy. It's like, you know, recognizing and seeing the recognizing and seeing the new paradigm and what is descending into form. And you guys have gathered this incredible community together of like people who see that and are literally creating the energetic grid and the structures for that paradigm to manifest into this form, this three-dimensional realm. And it's just such an honor to be a part of that. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds.
Oh
Yes,
my God,
us
me
too. This is going to be a really cool, really fun year.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Music for Woo New is composed by Adam Miller.